Welcome to Positive Filter with your host, Philip Wilkerson, a podcast that focuses on friends, family, health, and career with a little self-help around the way. Please join me in this journey for self-improvement, and I hope that what I have to share will make you a better person, thus making the world a better place. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Philip Wilkerson back with another episode of Positive Filter. Today I have a special guest. First of all, we're in a special location. We're in MMP Studios. Shout out to them in Burke. And we got a special episode today because I got special guests. Well, everyone's a special guest. But today I'm joined by Jeffron, Marcus. I was about to say Adrian, but he's here in spirit. And Kyle, he's here in spirit as well. And so we're going to do a little episode today about the transition of all of us guys from private school to public school. But before we go into the episode, I'd like to give the guest an opportunity to introduce themselves. So let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. Go first.
All right. I was about to say good morning or good afternoon. I forgot some podcast.
Wherever you're listening.
I am Marcus Jackson. Went to, we'll get into the school later, but 33 years old, father of one on the way, and I'm a federal police officer now.
There you go. Shout out to you.
My name is Jeffron Robertson. I'm also 33. I'm father of two, and I'm a government analyst.
Oh, snap. So we all got jobs. Shout out to the school.
Feds.
It's it. And I'm, obviously I work at the higher ed. So this episode, this was a hot topic because even before I started this episode, I did a Facebook poll, and I just wanted to see what Facebook thought. And in that poll, I asked, would you send your kids in this area, that's the factor, to a public school or private school? And what do you think most of the people said?
Public.
I'm going to say public.
It was an overall majority, 95% public school. So for our experiences, though, we didn't go to public school. We went to a school which will remain nameless for this episode. No, I'm just joking. It's Calvary Road Christian School.
I was like, dang.
That's where we met.
Represent them Crusaders, man.
Yeah. And we all three of us transitioned to public school. So let's talk about kind of going back into our time machine. What grade did we all meet? We mostly all met in the second grade, right?
Yeah, I've been there since preschool.
I was in
preschool.
Yeah, but I left, came back.
And I started in kindergarten, so I've known Marcus since kindergarten.
Yeah.
I didn't meet you till second grade.
Till second grade. So but we've been in each other's lives that long. And then for the guest, where did you go to? Where did we all transition when we went to public school?
I went to Irving Middle School in 8th grade, and then Lee High School for high school.
Yeah.
I went to Calvary Road again from kindergarten to 8th grade, and then I went to Thomas Edison.
Yeah, and then I went to Mount Vernon. That's it. Only public school ever. And so I think that we're going to talk about that in a little bit later as that transition. But let's go back. So do you think, and I'm just going to throw out questions right now, if you can go back in a time machine, no, not a time machine, right now with your kids, we all got kids now, would you send your kids to the same school?
No.
That was a hard no. There's no explanation there?
No, I just think it's too expensive. I think the money is not worth it. Depends what you're looking for your child, but when you're just talking about education, I think that's money with the way that how much college is right now. That's money that can be put away for college degrees and things of that nature. But so I'd rather not use it on grades that really don't matter.
True. I guess so. I mean, I never thought about grades that really matter because no one cares about your element. Okay, go ahead.
No, I don't. I would say no, but my main reason is because, let's be real, we grew up in Fairfax County.
Yes.
We have one of the best schooling systems in the nation. So as Marcus said, you can take that money and do other things. We have a family vacations, bigger house, college savings. I appreciate the experience, but growing up in Fairfax County is a blessing as far as the public school system.
So we wouldn't have done it.
No.
So do you think, no shade, why do you think we went?
Because our parents told us.
No, I mean, why do you think our parents? Yeah.
This is where they said you're going to school and they dropped us off at.
Yeah, but what do you think? I mean, have you talked to your parents and said, why did they send us to this?
I mean, I think everyone's got the. I mean, I've never. It's a good question. I probably should have did that before I got here.
I did.
But everyone, sees public school as this terrible place. Yes. But I think later in life, I realized that all these things are happening in private schools too. Yeah. Same thing, almost worse sometimes. So.
I know my mom wanted me to go to Calvary Road because of the Christian Foundation. Just
talk about that later.
But my father wanted me to go to public school.
Yeah.
He told me he wanted me to go to public school because that's what the real world is.
Yeah.
And later on, I actually understood exactly what he was talking about because in going to school at Calvary Road, again, while I appreciate it for the most part, we were very, very sheltered.
Yes.
Very sheltered. So.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. And I think that if I don't know, in my discussions, I think they were thinking about creating a religious base and thinking that they were not sheltering, but protecting my faith by sending me to a Christian school early on. But in hindsight, I guess if that was the only factor, because if we went down and we did a pros and cons list, right? Curriculum and level of education was very comparable in the public school, right? Maybe access to nice stuff and equipment, like computers and stuff. You can get that in public school.
Smaller class sizes too.
Smaller class. Well, I guess that would be the positive, right? Smaller class size. But I think if I went back in my in that T-chart, I don't think that there was so many more benefits that sending to a private school than sending to a public school. And I think that if my parents would have done a little bit more research with the internet, looking up the demographic stuff or looking up the stuff online and the rankings. I mean, the school that was for my elementary, that was in my neighborhood was probably one of the best elementary schools in Fairfax County. But I think it was just they really wanted me to have a strong Christian base.
I have in my notes that being sheltered and not exposed to some things a little earlier in the life than you're supposed to be. But once again, that can happen at any school, and being older now. But I mean, I can't even get into some of the stuff. But once I got to,
yeah, we're a little dry now, man. We're a little dry. We got to just spice it up a little bit. Yeah, that's this is dry. Because I was about to say, this is dry. I think that
make it hot, Mark. Make it hot.
When I went to, I ain't gonna lie. When I went to public school for the first time, I legit hit a wall of corruption, or I would say my world was just shook real bad. I remember my first day at 2 days, and football practice. Dudes was talking about hooking up with girls, and and I was
that's
like,
what I was about to say.
I was like, what do you like? I'm gonna just say it, they was like, we're gonna get some some head in the bathroom, and I looked at them. I said, what is that? And then they made fun of me, and then it was just exposure to drugs and alcohol, and just I don't know. I literally was I felt like a Quaker. I felt like a Quaker going, leaving
a pilgrim.
Yeah, the pilgrim. You see them.
That's exactly what you were raised as.
What's the show?
At Calvary Road.
No, but that show that they have where literally the Quaker tries to go and see the real world for the first time, and they lose their mind. They lose their mind, and then they say they it's like they're when they turn 18, they get an opportunity to see the real world, and if they like it, they can stay there. But if they want to come back to being a Quaker, they got a choice, right? I legit felt like that, but for a public school. But there was no me going back to the Quaker community. You know what I'm saying? It was once I went to Mount Vernon, it was no turning back.
I think girls were the major thing for me. I mean, at Calvary Road, did you
surprise?
Shut up, Mark. Did you quotation marks girls at Calvary Road? Yeah, but I mean, it's just she's pretty. But
First off, you had a selection of maybe three. Because your classroom size was super small.
We graduated 13.
We love all the women from Calvary Road, though. But yeah,
I'm not even saying. I'm saying classroom size, not even quality.
Yeah,
I'm
we didn't
all right,
have...
you got 2 girls in your class.
Right.
All of us are fighting.
No, absolutely.
I mean, legit, there's 13 of us
in our class. Yeah. But I think when you get to high school, though, and again, I played football too, so to hear what dudes were already doing as a freshman or had been doing in junior high, I was like, oh my God.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, what have we done?
Yes.
And then also, this may sound lame, but cursing. I didn't curse when I was at Calvary Road during junior high.
I didn't curse.
But then when I got to high school, it was like, oh, I'm not going to hell if I curse.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just what it was.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then going forward in my adult life, I curse when I want, but it's, it's not like I'm cursing like a sailor or anything. So.
Yeah, true. I mean, and I think that's another thing too. It was that I definitely don't discredit the base that I had, but we never had like sex education in middle school. We never had.
Yeah, you did. Don't do it.
Yeah, true.
Don't do it.
Don't do
ever.
It. Huh? I wasn't there in 5th grade. Y'all had that, John? Y'all had sex ed?
Yeah, I didn't want to correct you.
No,
yeah,
Did we?
We in 5th grade. I think
How do you
5th grade,
remember?
Mr. I have a good one. So 5th grade, when Mr. If I'm not mistaken, in Miss Sakata's class, we go to somebody's house for sex education.
No names.
Yeah. But first of all, you went to someone's house for the education?
I forget. It was somebody within Calvary Road. I forget, but
Yeah, forget.
it was. But when we were
I don't
taught,
remember that.
none of us were paying attention to that crap. It was just like, oh, all right.
You get that. You get that right in 9th grade. Health education.
And then, I did DARE once in Alabama. And
It's a drug thing, right?
yeah, that's the drug thing. But I'm just saying, but then it was definitely disconnected, and it wasn't. It was just like, all this is bad. This is everything that you do is bad. Is gonna go take you to hell. Scare tactics. We always watch. I mean, on movie time, we either watch Disney movies or we watch those Left Behind series. So you thought that at any moment you was gonna go to hell. I remember specifically we had a play one time where
a lot of times
the play where the plane crashed on stage and they pretended
salty.
No, not the salty Christian book one. I know what you're talking about. And I'm talking about the one play where the plane crashed and they had a big speaker and they were like, if you don't accept me,
I remember.
If you don't accept me as your Lord Jesus Christ, you're going to hell. And the girl didn't get accepted and they pulled her behind the stage and screaming and stuff. And then they're gonna ask me, I think in 2nd or 3rd grade, who accepts Jesus Christ, and I ran up to the stage because I was so scared. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are some things like that stands out.
I think one of the big cons is
Yeah.
pushing the using quotations Christian values over
Preach.
being actually just Christ-like.
Yeah.
And we know what those are.
Yeah.
There is no pro-life. You cannot be for abortion at all, or you're going to hell.
Yeah.
There is
Yeah.
things like that where
Gay and
when
lesbian,
you
all that.
yes, that is exactly what I was
Gay
about to say.
lesbian, you're going to
You
hell.
cannot be a homosexual Christian. It is impossible according to these Christian values. And once you start learning more, when I started learning more, I realized that that's not true.
Right.
Because if you believe things like that, which is so strong, then a lot of people did things in the name of Christianity. Like slavery was done in the name of Christianity.
Yeah.
Like the Holocaust.
I like your shirt, Marcus.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna preach too much. I'm gonna get out of
No,
here.
he's getting
Preach, preach.
If you believe that, then Gandhi is going to hell and Hitler's going to heaven.
Right. And I think that one of the things is, I like to say,
We're good.
What's up? We're good? Yeah. One of the things I noticed was that, because I went to Calvary Road Christian School did not mean automatically I was like a Christian, practicing Christian. Quite honestly, I think I found more of my faith later on in life as an adult, making my own decisions. And I think, reading the Bible on my own and things like that, and not being told how to be a Christian. And so with that being said, I don't think a kid or anyone needs to go to a quote unquote Christian school to establish a Christian base.
I think
That's just my opinion.
As a child, like Marcus said earlier, we were told to go there, so we had to go there.
Yeah, of course.
And at Calvary Road, they told you better go to church. In chapel, you better pay attention. You better read your Bible or else. I'll put that on like the old school Christian church, if you will, where if you don't do it this way, you can't get into heaven. And I think that I don't know if I want to use the word extreme, but I think using that towards little kids isn't the best tactic. And speaking to your point, I just want to give a shout out to my favorite, I'll say teacher from extended care, but
Don't use.
I'm not. I said my favorite teacher or guardian from extended care.
Yeah.
But he was one of those people at Calvary Road that I really loved and looked up to because he was never, you better do this, you better do that. He would talk with us like we were like little nephews and nieces, played with us, and he always, that's the way he walked in life, I think was a good representation of what Marcus was talking about as far as, And
I think it might have been better because he wasn't, that wasn't his job.
Right.
He did the extended care and then drove the bus. So we don't, not that we don't know what his values are, but I mean, he just seemed like a genuinely good person. And then, when you get into, it's a little different when you have your teacher and they've got to teach these things and take you to these plays, and now you kind of view them in a certain way. It's just different.
Right. And, I mean, just for the character, I don't want to focus a lot of this episode on actually Calvary Road, because I don't want, like, I think I want to end it on Calvary Road about the Christian foundation, all that stuff. What I really want to focus a lot more, majority on this episode, is just the overall, I think, public school versus private school. So, for what it's worth, I think before we transition about that, I think the last thing I would say is, with all that being said, negative or positive, I think that I am eternally grateful because we wouldn't have been friends without this school, right? And the small classrooms, I did also think that for me in elementary school, I needed a small classroom. I mean, surprise, surprise with my attention. And then I probably needed, needed special, individualized attention for my education with my attention span. If you get what I'm saying.
I needed a bigger classroom so there could be other kids that are better than me. They could have zoned in on them instead of me.
Eddie, Daniel, Mike.
Nah, I need that. But besides that, I can think, I've been doing a lot of thinking as I've had my own kids. And a lot of that thinking is now I'm doing the research on what is important in regards to education. And what I'm finding is while, faith is important, Christian, all that stuff and values, the things that were more important to me now at this current point is diversity, like exposing my kids to an environment with all kinds of different kids. So whenever I look up statistics of schools, which I do, I look up Fairfax County schools, I look at what is the demographics, how many people are black, how many people are Asian, how many people are white. I look at the free reduced lunch percentage, because I want them to have exposure to a wide range of social economic kids. And I just look at that kind of diversity because I think while, education, I was prepared for Mount Vernon High School education. I was doing good in class. I don't think I was ready for, as Jeffron said earlier, the real world, the match of public school to real world. And I think you can get that real world experience here in Northern Virginia in a safer public school. If that makes sense. Like, I'm not throwing them off to some school that's, just because it's diverse and you're going to have trash education. It's diverse and the quality of learning is good too.
Yeah, so if you're going to private school, one thing in common is that most likely your parents are all your parents are doing pretty well. Right? They have the money to. Right. So the thing with when you're going to public school, you're seeing people at all levels of socioeconomic status, right? So you're sitting next to a kid that's dirt poor, and then and we had people in our school that were driving Z3s and stuff.
Yep.
So you have the whole spectrum, and you just learn how to interact with different people, how different people live. I had a good friend who was Indian, and I went to his house a few times, and it's a completely different culture. Yes. Sometimes you're not exposed to that going to a Christian, school.
Yeah, different friends.
Or private school.
Muslim friends. I didn't meet people of different faiths until public school as well, right? I mean, like you said. Well, I did actually, because being a military brat, I saw people from all over the world when I was not base, but when I went to different stations. And then my mom, being a doctor, all her friends were different ethnicities. She had Filipino doctor friends and stuff like that. But that exposure to those different friends probably wouldn't happen if I stayed solely within the bubble of the school, the private school. So I mean, that is a good point.
Yeah, we didn't have that much diversity.
No.
At Calvary Road. I mean, that's not a shot to them.
Yeah.
But student wise and staff wise, there just was not that diversity.
Yeah.
And if you want your child to be successful in this world,
yes,
they need to learn to get along with people from all different walks of life, be it religion, ethnicity, whatever. You need to learn, because once they graduate college and get a job, unless they're sitting at home writing books by themselves,
right,
they need to learn how to get along with everybody.
right. And it's like I don't think there's really a work environment similar to that private school, unless like you can go to a private super Christian college, right? Yeah. And then after you graduate that, right, where are you going to go? I think the only way you can do that is if you go to small town place that's the town is that affiliation, very homogeneous, aka all white people town, where there's like all the same religion. So, and that's not going to be very representative in the United States. You're not going to find many places like that, aka Idaho. You will find that in Idaho.
I want to touch on that, Phil, because I actually got my master's online through Liberty University, which is a conservative Christian school.
Yeah.
I got my master's in public policy. So for those that don't know, basically politics. And I will just say, in a lot of our discussion boards, there was not a lot of diversity of thought there at all. So I do think it's important to...
Why'd you choose Liberty?
Honest, Liberty gives military folks a discount.
Right, there we go. I just wanted to...
Now, if it wasn't for the money...
to put that out there.
If it wasn't for the money...
It's online.
I probably,
it's flexible.
It was online, working adult with kids. So, but... yeah, you want your children to be around a bunch of different types of different people, different trains of thought and everything. I think it'll make them better people.
Now, what was okay? And going, I like going back. Did y'all have any like angst? Not angst, but yeah, any real obstacles for your transition? I think that's a really important thing to think. I legit am being totally transparent. I struggled. I went from going from 8th grade to a small 13-person class. With all pretty much good kids. All good kids. We were all good kids. I really don't think we had a bad kid. And the funny thing is, no, because we're going to say some names.
Debatable.
Say our friends. Now, I look it back in a time machine, and our bad was not that bad.
No, and we talked about this, because I
no,
thought
like
about it.
The worst, making fun and teasing and cutting up in class, our bad was cake. Like, my wife works with kids that had worked with kids that are getting kicked out of their schools and get expelled. We were angels compared to the worst kids.
We were going to see the principal over talking in class.
Yeah.
Like it was your teacher and then the principal. There was no buffer.
That's it.
Then you get to, when I got to public school, I realized, and that's when I never got in trouble once I got in public school.
You did. You was an angel.
Because there were other people that were doing so much, and I'm like, I can't even get my stuff in. I'm trying to be class clown.
Yeah.
So,
you said, I'm trying. Hello?
I'll take a back seat to this.
Yeah.
But it just shows you, like, and no disrespect to the teachers, but I don't think they'd be able to handle themselves in a different environment where, these parents are paying so much, so their kids aren't. I don't even want to say they're acting up, but it's just a completely different environment for the teacher.
I legit don't think we act up. Yo, tell them that story about how when you was like legit, was it Irvin or Lee when you was on the bus and you legit for the first time saw someone get like jumped or something?
Yeah. I mean, we never had any fights.
Exactly.
So
that's what I'm trying to say.
In high school, I think I saw a few fights and some people just getting hit, out of nowhere, and you're like, wow, that was violent. Yeah, I was on the bus, and this is my freshman year. I'm 5'3", like 90 pounds, soaking wet. I'm sitting on the bus, and we see a car pull up, and the high school I went to is one way in, one way out, pretty much. So all the buses are in a line to get out and go to their respective homes or the children and everything. And this kid is walking down the street, minding his own business. Another car pulls up in like a red Honda, and these 3 large individuals get out and just start chasing him. And one has a baseball bat. And this was within like the first 2 months of school. And so think about it. I just got out of public school, my first year of public school at Irving, and then it was all private school. So there were no fights. No, we didn't bring any objects in.
You really didn't fight no one there. Yeah.
No.
I
think we probably got into it once, but it was like wrestling. Not to hit anybody.
You roll around on the ground. Yeah, that's it.
Remember I used to rub your hair and you were like, don't touch my hair.
Always
don't touch my hair.
I had a high top fade and messing my joint up.
Yeah, it's true. I never saw a fight till ever. I never saw a girl that was pregnant till high school.
Yeah.
We didn't have anybody get pregnant, obviously, in our 8th grade or whatever. I legit saw a person that was like, yo, people have... No, this is how naive I was. I was like, hold up. People have... Okay, first of all, I knew people have sex. I was like, you can get pregnant this young? Like, yo, what? Like, what? That's science.
And that's where I think some, and I'm not going to say all, but some private schools are doing you a disservice by just blocking that out, by just saying, don't do it, instead of giving you the education in case it happens. Like, just be real with it.
Yes, 100%. I legit felt like really, I was like, I didn't know people got, I was like, wow. I only saw people do drugs on news like those scary Lifetime movies where their life goes downhill. And then I was like, oh my gosh, now they're actually selling drugs. Like what? like this, and I'm not saying that like, okay, great guys, go to public school so your kids can be exposed to bad things. But I like I don't know. It's just a weird because I can see now as a parent. Also on the flip side is like I also want to do whatever it takes to protect my kids from the world, in a sense of, I don't want them to just get thrown out there. I think, is it stop recording? Is it something like that? Or is it installing? Oh, good. I thought I saw an install button. I don't know. No, don't edit that out. Who cares? I'm just pointing out the screen. We're in a really tight studio right now. But no, like I said, I want to do whatever it takes to protect my kids from the world. And I want them to be safe.
I think
but at the same time, it's so much protection that it backfires on you. If that makes sense.
I mean, you don't want to be helicopter parents. I think that as far as sending your children to a public school, it's all about the foundation at home.
Yep.
Your children are going to know how to act in class, and then outside of school by how you teach them at home. So, I think that's probably the biggest difference between, as far as public school goes, those kids that are getting in trouble and doing bad.
Yeah.
Not to say it's all on the parents, but usually there's something wrong where the parents aren't disciplining enough at home, in my personal experience. Right. I'll speak for all three of us, since we've known each other for so long. I think all of us have very, very great parents. I think that none of us would be where we're at in life if it wasn't for our parents.
True. Product of spanking right here.
Yeah.
Me too.
I would say the fact.
Me and Marcus, not Philip.
I don't need to get spanked. My dad could just look at me. But I
spank your kids, y'all. There's nothing wrong with spanking your kids.
Say this is Jeffron.
This is Jeffron. Not to the point of abuse. 1 or 2, 3 pops will get the job done. Trust me.
Oh, we got the comments about to be on fire.
Oh yeah, that's Jeff. No, but for real, like I think I would agree with you though. I think that even if we take out the factor, I think that if I would even go to a public school, I think the foundation. I know I wouldn't cut up. You think I would cut up and go home to my dad? No. So
we'd all be thinking about what our fathers are going to do.
Public or private.
Or private. The discipline. I think the foundation would have been there at home too. Because I know for sure I couldn't cut up as a little kid and go home to my dad. Mm-hmm. So, how much protection do I need to have in a school environment?
Hey, my dad showed up to the private school, like peeking in the classroom because I was talking so much. So he would have done that in public school too.
Well, my dad one time, I think I only got in trouble one time in private when I was in preschool. I bit a kid.
Goody, man.
Duh.
He got in trouble one time.
One time, really.
In all those years.
No, I'm saying, and I bit the kid, and then I was popping, I was showing out, and I thought, my mom's gonna come, and guess what? My dad, he come in the full military outfit, in his uniform. I just start crying. I already knew what time it was, and he didn't even have to spank me. You know what he did? He made me sit in the front yard and watch him rake leaves for 3 hours, and told me not to move. And guess what? Did I move?
My pops never came to Calvary Road for me. He came for Stefan, my little brother. Stefan bit a girl one day.
Dang, everybody's biting people.
Yeah, Stefan was
I bit someone too. You bit someone too? I bit someone too. My parents told me I did, so I believe it.
My pops did come to get me from Edison once because I got in a couple fights at Edison. This dude tried me in English class. Not very good. But I didn't get in trouble because I didn't start the fight. That was his rule. As long as you didn't start it, you're good. But he did tell me don't fight in school. Try and wait till afterwards.
I mean, that's a good lesson for real.
Dog, bro,
you gotta protect yourself.
When I tell you he tried me, he tried me.
And he also didn't want you to be soft. So we're
no soft.
No. So and also we didn't have sports really.
Yeah, so no. So
we don't have sports like
dude,
that.
I was thinking about the private school.
Yeah, I'm saying that's it, but
our gymnasium was the size of the room we're in right now.
I thought about that too.
I've
been to elementary schools gym. I think they're.
And remember, we used to go to other gyms and be like, wow, this is a full court. But I mean, think about this. I mean, once you go to high school, you have bigger, more opportunities.
Oh, absolutely.
We had like 3
and play against better talent. I will say though, I think our basketball team is pretty damn decent for a small private school.
I
think.
I don't think so.
I don't even remember.
Shout out. Oh, I put this in my notes. No, we're awful. Get out of here. Stop
I don't
it.
remember basketball.
Shout out to Adrian Ferguson, who was supposed to be here. I was thinking about Adrian Ferguson.
I'm about to say,
Adrian Ferguson was the most uncoordinated person like I had ever seen. And in one summer came back looking like Hakeem Olajuwon. I don't know how he did it.
That's why I understand how you say we didn't have a good basketball team. We
Well,
had Adrian, you, me,
I was
Phil,
terrible.
Aaron Breezemaster. Remember Aaron?
He was here for
Jason?
1 year.
Please
Come
don't.
on,
Dude,
bro.
he's acting like we're gonna like win championships.
First of all, I don't know why you
I
said
think
my
we
name.
would've-
I'm trash.
All right. Well,
Phil didn't play basketball.
I think our starting five could have been.
How many games did we win? We got.
No, we only lost like one game.
Do we have any championships in those
played-
yearbooks?
We only lost like 1 or 2 games. Seriously.
We
I gotta ask
played-
my dad.
We
I'm not
played
believing
Bobo
that.
School.
Our 7th grade year, we lost like 1 game to the team in Maryland.
You know
and
who
they
we
was
were
all
playing
brothers.
Who was
That
playing?
was like
Capital something. Capital Christian.
Yo, we got beat by
Destroyed.
70. That's why I know we were trash.
I'm really throwing back that you thought we were good.
No, yeah, you're tripping.
No,
I was athletic. I was
our
fast.
7th grade year.
I was always fast.
Our 7th grade year, we were decent. That's when we still had Aaron there.
Track and field day, all that. I thought I was fast. Go to Mount Vernon, and I'm like
Yeah,
barely
yeah.
making a track
He
team.
was
You know
down
what
on
I'm
the
saying?
highway.
So that is like
I got faster.
I think
got
that's
faster in my
and I don't know, man. Y'all tell me what you guys think, but I think
Yes.
work ethic kind of changes because I was fine where I was. Like I'm like one of the best basketball players in the school, but there's no one really here. And so when Aaron came out of nowhere, I'm like, oh, this dude can hoop, like for real. And then you go to high school, and I'm like,
Everyone can.
all right, now I really got to work on things. You
Well,
know?
it's the same mentality, right?
We suck in basketball.
The pond mentality. The thing is, like, you think, you know, in your little bubble, you think you're the smartest, whatever, and then you go to like, you might be the smartest kid at your school, and then you go to the next school, and you go to a magnet school, and everyone's smart.
That's
You
true.
think you're the most athletic, and then you go to a normal big Robinson or Edison or any school, and everyone is athletic. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think
it's probably not a difference public and private.
I think in general, I think that's another reason why I think I would have transitioned better individually. I think the foundation I had in elementary school was excellent. I think foundation of going to a Christian elementary school was excellent. I think for me, physically and mentally, I think I would have done probably a little bit better if I would have ramped up a little bit and went to middle school first.
I think middle school would have been the perfect
Y'all
chance.
should have followed me.
transition.
Huh?
Y'all should have followed
I
me.
should have.
I had
Man,
the
I'm
perfect
telling you,
exit.
my dad, when he wanted to take me out, dog, this is dumb looking back, but I loved my classmates at Collier.
I did too.
Coming up.
We're good.
Well,
Like,
that's what we stay
I
in touch
felt-
though.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's the crazy thing is we've been blessed enough to stay in touch, but I'm talking about I did not want to leave the boys. Even when I got to high school, like playing football, I hung out with my football teammates, but I was always with Mike, Eddie,
Yeah.
Jason, and Daniel, like every weekend,
You stayed in touch.
like all the time. So I
Well,
really
mean,
did.
I would say here's the thing. I think you stayed in touch because you're more around that area, that Springfield area. So like for me, it was a little travel. Like I was in Mount Vernon, you was in Lee. We were kind of.
We still hung out though. Well, high school.
Y'all
now,
hung
we
out.
hang
Yeah, y'all did hang out.
And I still hung out with you a couple times, but
Yeah,
it had
Phil,
to be.
you
But it
still
had
hung
to be
right.
effort. Like it wasn't
Right.
just hop and skip. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Like,
true.
We were all spread out. You know, it was all.
Cars back then.
You know, like I never saw Phaedra again at Chantilly.
Shout out to Phaedra.
Shout out to Phaedra. I'm just saying we were
what's up,
all over.
bro?
We were all scattered, and I think that's another. I would say another difficulty about private school is
Absolutely.
that when you go to a private school, everyone's all scattered out. You're not really neighborhood friends. You're not staying in the same community, and you had to make effort to hang out. Like I had to like stay at your house over the weekend. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you had to make effort for friends, and I think that's another thing I think about with my kids is like I want them to play with their friends in the street in the area.
They're
don't know,
gonna
just have an
they're gonna attract or adapt to whoever they're
Yeah,
with, you know.
true.
So I'm not necessarily pressed on them being close, but you know, if their best friend lives in Centerville, then I guess we're gonna have to make trips to Centerville. I guess that's just gonna be it.
Yeah,
I
drop
also
them
think
off.
something that helped me with Edison is I pretty much knew a bunch of people because growing up, I was playing baseball, basketball,
Yeah,
football,
sports,
and
yeah.
end up going to school with all the people that I was teammates with in the past.
From Franconia, right? That
Yeah, from Lee Franconia, from Lee District Basketball. Me and Mark played each other. We were 8 years old.
did.
He was on the Jaguars. They beat us in the playoffs. We gonna talk about
What kind
that.
of memory does this dude have?
I remember that.
Great memory. All
First
they
of
used
all,
to do
I'm
was
definitely
shoot
gonna remember.
threes.
I'm definitely gonna remember playing against him. Like,
Hold up,
yeah.
like legit, like what kind? Like must have a trash memory. I don't remember half the stuff you be talking about, yeah.
Sorry, man. It's facts though, because
You write this down.
Coach Mark Rashad was on your team.
Rashad,
AJ,
Mark still cuts my hair. AJ Fitzgerald.
Exactly, dog. Y'all beat us. Philip. They had all brothers.
Yeah, you had
my
good
team.
names. I know. I remember some things, but something I don't remember. Sheesh. So, I mean, there's some other things, that people discuss with some hardships. I talked to Joseph. He said that he was he was gay, and he had a hard time transitioning. And even when he got to Edison, he felt like he hated on himself. And I think that's a smart thing. I think another thing I probably struggle with, and I don't know, this is me, is feeling like I was told I acted too white. Anyone get that? I got that when I went from private school to public school. Everyone thought I acted white, and I was like, I just acted like me. And the funny thing is, we never said that to each other. I don't remember ever saying that to each other ever.
I mean, you wouldn't know what it is. So.
Right.
But we never said that to each other.
When I
when I went out, like my cousins, I got it from my family all the time. Oh,
yeah, especially down south. My family in South Carolina. Oh,
they said that.
Oh my god!
But see, my cousins down south never said that to me either.
My parents remind me because they were like, they would tell me, you used to go down and see your family and be, hey guys, and they'd all mock me like, hey guys.
Oh damn, they were trying to get you.
I mean,
see, my cousins didn't do that to me.
I think
they're all nerdies, and like we're all, all my cousins were kind of nerdy.
He didn't go to private school. And I'm using this as an example because in the black community, that's how it is when you talk proper. But it was almost like we were all a bunch of Barack Obamas, intelligent, proper speaking brothers, seriously. And then when we went to public school and we're around family, like for me and Mark,
it's frowned upon.
It was like, what? Like, y'all sound white. But after Barack became president, I think in the black community at least, it was like, dang, it's okay to talk proper. My personal opinion.
I'm not giving Barack all that. I was just saying like,
what?
I mean, I'm giving Barack like.
I don't think he started that.
I don't think he like. I don't. No, I'm saying I don't think he opened the door and like just because Barack Obama.
He didn't open the door.
People are saying People still say that junk now. I mean.
Oh no, I don't get that now. As a matter of fact, when I go somewhere, it's.
No, go ahead.
But yeah, people talk about the whole. What is it? Becoming almost offensive. You speak so
well.
You speak so well, like it's a surprise that. Black man or woman can speak in an educated manner.
Right.
So I think that's starting to change.
I think now I know how to address it.
Especially I didn't address it very well in middle school and high school.
I mean, if a black person says it to me, and I'm older now, I know what to say. It depends on who it is.
Yeah, say it. What
now, now my problem was when if a white individual says it to me, and then my response is a little bit different. That gets problematic very quickly if you say that.
Yeah.
So because you can't tell them, I act white. I act like I have an education. So only white people have education. Like this, I'll make you feel really small very quickly now. Yeah. But back then, it's just like I don't know what I'm doing. Right. What are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying. I think now, as a more educated person, I would do. But like when you're in the 9th grade and you're hearing it from classmates, I was just like, okay, and then I started internalizing that. I don't know. It was. I'm not gonna lie. It was a struggle.
And growing up,
and then I was like, you saying this about me, right? That I act this way. But if you looked at all my friends were black. Like I was like, I'm hanging out with Hillard. So how do I act different than Hillard?
All my friends were black in high school.
That's what I'm
saying.
Just
about.
Me too.
Not that I was like, but it was. I played basketball. Everyone black played basketball.
I played football and ran track, and I was in a 10th grade leadership, and from that leadership class, they were all my best friends. Yeah, but they never said that Hillard or Justin or them acted that way. They only said that I did. And because I was in IB classes too, whatever. So, I mean, but the thing is, I think that's another thing. I think if I were able to ramp up in middle school, I think I would have been able to address that a little bit better.
What do you mean by ramp up?
Like I said, instead of being exposed and saying, this is the first time people are saying you act white, and in 9th grade rather than when I was in the 6th grade, I'd probably deal with it a little bit better. I probably would have had that conversation a little bit better. I would have probably had a firmer
I think
identity.
It depends where you went.
I would have had, maybe would have had a, what I would say is maybe I would have had a, I know what Carl Sandburg, to have black male teachers. I probably would have had a black male teacher to mentor me. Because one of my best teachers, one of the best teachers I ever had in school, education period, was Mark Holbrook, a black teacher I had in the 10th grade. I think that, as Jeffron alluded to earlier, I think that having an educator of color would have been very helpful for me,
Absolutely.
especially a black male.
I went from, the private school, the all-white private school, to a very white middle school. So it almost nothing really changed.
See, that's a
The
difference.
black kids in there were, if you want to, quote unquote, acting white, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, okay.
They were dressing just like they were wearing sweater vests with t-shirts and everything,
Gotcha.
and wearing
So
Vans.
it's depending on what middle school you
It
went
depends.
to.
So it's
I would've
like
went to
it wasn't
Sandburg.
that different.
I would have
Now-
went to Sandburg.
Now when I got to Lee,
Yes.
Lee was everything completely diverse, which was
Gotcha.
great.
Right.
But it just showed me the difference.
Right, mine would have been I guess we all saying situationally.
Yeah.
If I would have went to Sandburg, mine is very diverse. Sandburg's very diverse, and then right from Sandburg it would have been West Potomac or Mount Vernon still. So I think that would have been a different experience.
I
And
wanted.
then you would have went to Hayfield, right?
Yeah,
No,
my mom.
no,
would
you
not
would have
have-
went to.
I was supposed to go to Hayfield. My mom would not. I would have gone to Mark Twain. Tony was not about to let us go to. Stefan was supposed to go to Hayfield too. We both went to Edison. It wasn't about to happen. I want to go back to something you said as far as, I guess, being who you were as far as Joseph. Joseph went to Edison.
Yeah.
Very, very smart kid, very brilliant kid.
Yeah.
And the fact that he said that is crazy because Joseph is probably one of the nicest, sweetest people you'll ever meet. And I believe, I haven't spoken to him like you did, but growing up in that type of environment probably would make you hesitant or scared to be who you are.
100%. He said that elementary school made him have internal dialogue that he self-hated on himself, and then he said he still, even when he got to Edison, it was like, oh wow, I'm a magical world. He said he even struggled through there. It was probably when he got to college, and stuff like that. So, but that's another thing though. But maybe if he would have went to I don't know how open kids are now about sexuality and things like that. Elementary school.
Completely different
I don't
now.
think, but
it still wasn't.
I think when we were in high school,
there.
no, in
It
high
still
school,
wasn't there,
In
but-
high school, it was not there. Mount Vernon, it was not very accepting or very welcoming. So I think we all can go in a time machine. Even Joseph, or I think even I heard from Brian Dawson, and he had some internal struggle. It's like I think one of the main things though was that since we were in a small community, it was just lack of exposure.
Definitely.
And I think that lack of exposure got internalized, and then when you had anything that questioned your pre-existing identity or existence, it was very, very hard, and it's going to happen sooner or later. And I think we're just debating or not debating, discussing is it better to happen sooner or is it better to happen later? For me, I don't think you should wait to high school or college to be in a diverse environment.
Definitely not.
Now, Killer Mike. And I brought that up. Killer Mike said on the opposite. He said that little black kids should only be around black kids in elementary school, and black kids should be only in all black inclusive environments till they get to high school. So he was saying the flip side. That was Killer Mike's opinion on the Breakfast Club, which I wanted to bring up because he also said if you went to a public school and didn't do what you're supposed to do, that's not on the public school. That's on the kid, because you should be able to go any school and succeed. But go ahead.
I just want to say Jeffron has raising his hand just now.
Yeah,
Just
like we're in class.
so he could talk.
Yeah, go ahead,
Like we were
Jeffron.
back in
Just cut
private
in.
I
school.
felt like I was in somebody's history class
No,
in 7th grade.
Go ahead.
Anyway, I want to comment on that because I did go to a HBCU, South Carolina State, in the South. Killer Mike's from Atlanta, okay? And Atlanta, for those that don't know, is like Black Hollywood.
Super black.
I mean,
In a good way, though.
But
Like,
he's
I'm not
saying,
saying it's a
but
bad
he's saying
thing or
black
anything.
and successful, right?
black and successful. Most black singers, ball players,
Yeah.
everything live in Atlanta. It's cheap if you're a millionaire, dirt cheap, and it's a beautiful city. But his mindset of having a all black school or private school, I think is what he said on there.
He just said any all black in school.
Any all black. That's kind of what we were talking about with Calvary Road, where you're not exposing your kids. If your kids grow up in an all black society and go to an all black school, and up through high school, go to a college at a HBCU, they're going to be stuck when they get in the real world. They're not going to know how to interact with people from different backgrounds and walks of life.
But he was saying that they were more firm in their identity and more proud, and also had exposure to
in
leadership.
Atlanta, because they have the money. They have the money and the resources to do that. But Atlanta is not the majority of the
So
country.
you're saying that maybe, and this is you don't think that going to a private all black elementary school in DC area would be just as beneficial as what Killer Mike was saying? since Atlanta and DC are different, or
So
all black,
DC's
all black,
DC's a terrible
all
example.
black, or no, I'm saying all different pockets, or all black school in Detroit, or all black, all these different pockets.
Me personally, I'm a proud black man as we all are. I think that you could learn at an all black school is not really going to be in the education. It's going to be the teaching of self,
Yeah.
where you come from.
Yeah.
That, in my personal opinion, should be taught at home because you're not
Okay.
going to get that.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to get that in the school system. I don't know if you guys agree. I didn't get that in going to a public school or private school.
Well, okay.
You know,
yeah. Right.
So just
okay.
being real.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
But are you going to be mad when there's an application and you can't get into the school because it's an all-white school? I mean, not to take it all the way back, but all right, this is an all-white public school. You can't go to the school. You see what I'm saying? Or an all-white private school. I'm sorry. So I'm playing the flip side of Killer Mike.
Oh yeah. So me and you were in agreement.
So
talking about the all in the
Right.
Yeah.
but
Okay.
I'm saying, like, as black people, we would be mad if we were mad when they had schools and you can't go to the school. So I'm saying, like, HBCUs, anybody can go to HBCU. I think there's a misconception that it's just
it's
it's a historically black college, but anyone can go.
It means it's just the foundation was historically black, but everyone can go to a historically black school.
I don't think Killer Mike would be accepting of anything else but black children in the school. I think we're past doing stuff like that.
He has like a 19, and I respect him, and I respect what he's doing in the community, but he has a 1950s mindset.
It's extreme.
You know, well, I'm saying because there were a group of there's people in the black community back then that were okay with segregation. They just wanted it equal. They wanted us to have the same resources as white people in the country.
Yeah, I think I think what his main platform is that we need to strengthen within ourselves, in our own communities, in our own education, and then we'll be, business and all that, and then we'll be, ready to, tackle the real world. But the thing I think I agree with Jeffron though is that I think that the main thing for an all black school, the main key point that he would want would be identity of self, which you can get that at home and then send them to a mixed
you
school.
can get that in home. Like schools for a lot of things, but schools mainly for what? Education. You can do that stuff with, weekend projects, aftercare stuff, things like that. I got my math, science, and all that during the day, and then I'm doing this identity of self, African American male program after school, or on the weekend, having like Big Brother, things like that. My Brother's Keeper. Yeah. There's projects and things like that out there. I don't think you need. So you can't be pro-black during math class, pumping it into it.
We should all agree though that there should be more things that are left out of history books put in history books in the public school system.
We gonna go there too.
I wanted to go ahead and talk about my second grade story.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Jeffron has a really good one because this is about race.
In second grade, Marcus, go ahead and tell them what type of hat I have on.
There's an X on it, and on the side it says "by any means necessary."
Thank you. I needed that to segue into this. So, when I was in second grade, my father and I were watching the Malcolm X movie by Spike Lee, starring Denzel Washington. And there's a scene in the movie where Denzel, as Malcolm, was arguing with a priest about the color of Jesus, and the priest was saying that Jesus was white. Of course, God is white. Father stopped the movie right there and told me that Jesus was a man of color. And so he told me to go into school that next day and ask my teacher
Set you up.
ask my teacher what color Jesus was.
Hey, my mama told me. Kevin Hart.
Yeah, my mama told me.
So I did. I went in and asked her what color Jesus was, and she said Jesus was white. I was like, no.
She said that with the quickness too, huh?
She said it with the quickness, and I don't expect everybody that's going to listen to this podcast to understand. But one, that's historically inaccurate. Number two, when you're in an environment like that where you see pictures in a Christian school and there's no representation of you,
it's the hippie Jesus.
That can do something to young black, brown girls. So I took an issue. I always remember that Phil and Marcus made fun of me, not made fun, but laughed about it, but not to the point of making fun, but because they know how serious it was. But I do think that was something that will always stick with me. That
it shows you the mindset.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just something that she was told and no one ever looked into, but we don't have to get into it crazy, but let's look at the facts of where that area is, where he was from, and what the people look like there, and how much you are exposed to the sun, where it's impossible for you to just be looking like this white couch that we're on.
And I just say, like, when I think about that, that's one of the things that really drove me bonkers, is that, like, I think that we were just kind of indoctrinated into a faith, and it took me a long time to come back to that. Because of that, I felt like, I mean, even in general, I had all these things like, oh, just for so long, like, that's not right, or
there was no creative thinking.
No, there was like, did we ever question, like, people in the LGBTQ community, like, what? Like, I just can't wrap my mind around it, because we wouldn't have questioned your kids. You don't question adults. It wasn't free thinking, or, yeah, of course Jesus is a man of color. We didn't question. But then I was like, like we saw the hippie Jesus pictures, like what's it?
Yeah. All the disciple pictures. I mean, we had chapel every Wednesday.
Yeah.
And
but then the weekend projects, my mom used to take me all kinds of stuff. Oh, yeah. And have the black Jesus pictures and all the black Jesus ornaments and all that. So it's I think I'm just
parents go around the world trying to find a black Santa Claus.
Yeah. Mom,
just keeping it 100.
Yeah.
No white angel on top of our Christmas tree.
No, you had to go to Iverson Mall to see the black
take
Santa.
a picture? Yeah.
You ain't never been to Iverson Mall.
How am I going to know?
Just joking, bro. Calm down.
How am I going to know? Uh-oh. I'm about to get triggered.
You're about to tell him he speaks well, man.
Oh, he's about to say I speak so well for this podcast.
You're very articulate.
Oh, thank you.
Articulate. That's that Mount Vernon education.
That's it, Mount Vernon.
Or JMU, too.
Man, we really went longer. We were like 50 minutes. This is like, I was just rambling. This is actually, I feel like we need to do a part 2 with Adrian back. What you think?
Gotta have Adrian.
We gotta have Adrian. So
Adrian.
And we gotta call. And we gotta
big
call,
bro, man.
And we gotta call Kyle Cox back in.
We should also try and get maybe one of the women that went to school with us too, like maybe like Phaedra or Cassie in here too.
Jesus Christ, how many bites do you think we're gonna have up in here?
Dang, I'm just saying.
You can do a series, man.
Yeah.
This is part 1. We'll need to be at every one.
We need to get as much insight as we can and perspective as we can.
So we're at a good point of the episode. I don't even want to cut it off because I feel like we're good, but this is a part called Shot for Shot. I don't know if you listen to my podcast. Probably don't.
Are you talking to me?
No,
anybody.
Everyone.
Everyone.
It's all 3 listeners out there.
All 3. Shout out to you.
Our parents.
Yeah. So, but I definitely want to do Shot for Shot. This is where we ask a random question that's not even related to this Christian school thing, private school thing, and we have to answer honestly. Who wants to go first? We already kind of had some pre-show questions that were related, but they're random questions. So you want me to go first? All right, so my question is, and I want to bring it back up because we can probably ramble, so we got a time here. Do you think that LeBron would be good in the 80s, same era as Michael Jordan?
Go ahead, LeBron.
I say no.
Go ahead, LeBron.
And we can argue our answers.
Go ahead, LeBron.
Yes.
All right, we could go another hour on this. I'm not going to go. Look, I am pro Michael Jordan all day. If you ask me to start a team, it's going to be Michael Jordan every single day. You cannot tell me that LeBron is going to be some average player back then.
I said good.
All-star?
Great.
All-star?
All-star.
Okay.
Yeah. Look at his size.
First ballot all-star?
He don't have any heart, okay. Marcus.
He don't have any heart?
No.
What are those?
He tries like, bruh, are you
Dude,
serious?
What? Show me heart on the stat line. He ain't got no heart. You win a championship.
He
got 2 championships. He got 3 championships.
He got 3. How many did you lose? Oh, okay.
What's that mean? So
he was up on the Mavericks and lost. Up on him.
All right.
We're gonna talk about that.
All right. Next question.
No, I'm just gonna say that was.
He's got heart.
That's good.
Robert Horry got 7 championships.
What I'm gonna do, y'all, for that question, I'm gonna put a poll on Facebook tonight.
Generational thing.
Yes, we're gonna do that, and so we'll see the results of that. So
you
we already know.
Man. Bold by any means necessary.
He got it.
He's back in the nation.
No, he got fired up. So this like of all episodes, we talking about kids and Christianity. This dude got more upset about LeBron.
Unbelievable.
That's the only time he stood up for this whole episode. All right, that was good. Who's next question? Everyone has to ask one.
I want to. This you might have to do a whole podcast about this.
Yeah. So
since you're in higher education, I know I can't talk.
Yeah.
Since you're in higher education, I want to know your take on the whole bribery scandal and everything.
Yes, I could be a whole episode on this. Okay, so here's gonna be my only woke part about this is that, of course, only white people could do that. I saw a story where a woman got put in jail for at least just trying to get her kid to go into another elementary school. That's like free 99. These Bama's was paying $500,000 to Photoshop photos on their kids, stock photos of athletics. One girl never played a soccer game in her life and got a soccer scholarship to Yale. It's the most obscene thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And I think it is the most direct illustration of white privilege in this country that I've ever seen.
Phillip.
But I could go on a whole episode. I want to say that even if I had the money to do that, if my kids did not get into school, they're going to Nova Community College because I'm not spending $500,000 to get them to any college.
I go to the military.
Yeah, or the military, exactly. Or they're going to learn how to do a trade because I am not wasting. You think if I had to waste $500,000 on my kid to go to college, you think they're going to be a good college student? And you think that I'm not going to have to be taking care of them for the rest of my life? You don't think if they can't get into college on their own that they're going to be able to be sustainable as adults? You just enable them.
It ain't tricking if you got it.
There you go.
Simple as that. You would do that? I wouldn't do it. I'm saying, but the money they were throwing away is basically money they were throwing away. They don't care.
Right? Yeah. Would you do that, John, to get your kid to go to UNC?
No.
I was thinking about
you're not learning anything.
I was trying to think. Like,
they've never been told no.
Even my dream school. Would I do that to get my kids into a dream school?
No, you wouldn't.
No.
None of us would.
No, none of us would.
Especially.
Yeah. They're going to Nova.
It's a life lesson. I mean, I wanted to go to Carolina, and my parents were like, one, you're not going to get it.
You are.
Simple as that. Two, we're not paying for that. Exactly. So
I didn't get into JMU off the break. I got waitlisted, and that, you know what it did? It told me to work harder at Bowie and transfer like a normal person.
Speaking of waitlisted, shout out to George Mason who put me on the wait list, and I've hated him ever since.
You still got a spot. You come to grad school. Shout out to them. All right, Jeffron. You got your question. I know you've been thinking. You standing up, sitting down.
Why are you rubbing on the face that you got no facial hair on?
Bro, do you know? Real talk. I cannot grow a beard.
I can't either.
My brothers all can grow beards. I cannot grow a beard.
I'm beard handicapped.
Gang.
Hello, Marcus. Can it be a political question?
It's anything on the episode, man.
Okay, so I would like to get your opinion. I think that we all grew up in, I guess what you could say, moderate circumstances with our parents. Our parents are all level.
Moderate politically? Okay, yeah.
Philip and our fathers were officers in the military.
Yeah.
So I would like to know you guys' opinion on who you think would be the best candidate to run against Trump in 2020.
Oh, talking about the Democrat candidate.
Yeah.
The best or the one
so
you want?
So who's our choice?
I think there's only one person that can beat him, but I want to get.
Here we go.
I really want to get your opinion.
I think these are our choices, right? Beto, right?
You got like
Harris,
15 now.
Like 15,
bro.
You're not gonna name them all.
I'm gonna do like 3.
Okay, go ahead.
Or 4. Okay, so Beto,
Lost in the race.
Wow. Harris, Booker, and Biden, if he's gonna run. Might not. Did he announce yet?
He's going to announce.
He's going to announce.
He just hasn't.
And then, and who's my last one?
Bernie.
I'm going Bernie.
Okay.
I mean, I'm going Bernie with who I like the most.
Okay.
Do I think Bernie's going to win?
Yeah.
I don't think so. So, but I like Bernie. I feel the burn.
I think Bernie would have won last year. I think the best person to put against him this year, not that I necessarily want this person, but probably Biden.
That's just
that's your thing.
They're kind of the same, not really, but it's going to look crazy during.
Trump pretends to be for the working class, but he's not. And Biden comes.
Right, so we got facts.
Oh, this is awesome.
Scranton, PA.
Julian Castro.
No, I don't even
know.
No.
There's a couple. Tulsi Gabbard puts me to sleep every time she talks. So this woman,
Kamala Harris,
Kristen Gillibrand. So she's really. She's really popular because a lot of the Republicans like her too. So she's got
She's in
that
the middle.
going for her,
She's in
but
the middle.
But Biden and they said Beto were kind of like, oh, and then
Beto. I like his personality too. I like Beto, but I don't think he's going to do it.
well,
but part of me is like, and I don't want to go there. Not here.
Yeah,
But
not on the podcast.
some people are just jumping out, and it's like we don't know you at all.
Don't
Like if we don't
even
know you yet,
you.
like don't just stop.
No,
We've had to hear your name somewhere before.
no, they're not popular enough.
the reason I asked that question though is just
Yeah,
on a
that's-
serious note. That is that I know every election is supposed to be the most important election of a lifetime, but I feel culturally we need the right person with the right mind and heart in this country to really try and change things culturally, because when we were growing up, it was not okay to be rude. You know, it was not okay to be disrespectful. And I can't put everything on 45, but the culture in this country is definitely.
But you always said, and here's another thing. And before we go off the podcast, we only think. I mean, this two-party system. There's no chance that there's a third person.
No, you're wasting votes. Stop
Yeah.
it.
Our
Okay.
children's generation, I think, not ours.
Okay,
I
that's
shouldn't say that.
'cause
I'm
you
pro
literally
voting. You're not wasting votes. I
you
should not
literally-
say that.
Yeah,
That was a bad
Especially
way to,
2020.
that was a bad way to spin it.
Yeah.
I didn't mean that.
voteless people's hopeless people. That's one of our initiatives. I love voting.
I say vote, but what I meant by that, and I'm not gonna get into it too much. Last year, it was between two people. That was it.
It
Everyone
was.
knew that. So anyone in the middle is just taking away from the other two.
people.
You really didn't have a chance.
Yes,
That's what I meant.
I think that.
But if you wanna vote for them, it's fine.
I mean, in a big philosophical, political thing, that could be a whole nother podcast. I think that sometimes the biggest angst that I have or problem is you got two choices, and what if you don't rock with either one? You're stuck. I don't like that. I don't like that. You know, when I go to the store, I don't have two choices. You know what I'm saying?
Still gotta vote. That's me.
I get third.
One,
I'm not-
you gotta vote.
First of all, I'm not just. I'm gonna vote.
yeah,
I
I
just
hear
feel
you.
like I had to pick the lesser of
Man,
two
I feel you
evils.
had to get all like hyped
He's
up and
switching it,
stuff.
man. He's switching.
No,
This ain't
he got
positive filter,
swollen
man.
chest on you and everything.
No, voting gets me worked up, man.
It's
It's
a good thing.
politics. All right, so that was a really good episode. Let's finish on a positive note. Positive note is that we're all friends. We all went to Christian school. We all turned out all right.
And yes, we all went to Christian school. It's not a positive note that we went to Christian school.
We all turned out all right. That's the positive
Real
note.
quick, we were called the Crusaders. And if we go back in history and see what the Crusaders
Bruh,
were doing,
Oh my
can we talk about how they were killing people because they didn't want to believe in Jesus? Are we gonna go there too? Oh man, your comments are gonna be fire. We ain't even get there. Nah, that's way too much.
Do you still
We
know
got
the-
Crusaders
do you
on our
still-
chest.
Do you still know the Christian pledge?
No,
The Christian flag?
dude, I don't say the. I shouldn't say that right now.
Actually, no church that I've gone to does that. I don't know about you
What,
guys.
I don't even know how it starts. You know?
I pledge allegiance to the Christian flag. That's all I know. That's about it.
I think you just remixed the Pledge
It's
of
the-
Allegiance.
yeah,
Did you
it's the Pledge
just
of
Did you
Allegiance.
just remix the Pledge of Allegiance on that?
No, you say I pledge allegiance to the Christian flag.
All right.
For some, I legit don't remember that, yo. Okay,
Crusaders killing people.
Crusaders.
And we were out there with Crusaders
No,
on our
it's a
jersey.
positive episode. We went to a school. We all turned out right. Thank you to our parents for investing in us. Thank you. We also have a foundation of a great friendship that we wouldn't have got in a different school because technically we were all in the same class. So, with that being said, please leave comments. But I want to give also the last bit of opportunity to do shout-outs and plugs. So, first, I'm going to do some shout-outs and plugs for the people not here. So, Kyle Cox, he would have joined us, but he's performing. He's big time. He actually has music. I've used his music for the podcast to do some background music. So, shout out to him. I'm going to put his information in the show notes. Shout out to Adrian. He wasn't here today because he has a business, The Art of Noise, which is a rental space in DC where you can rent to do parties. I want to do a live podcast. You hear it now. I want to do a podcast in his studio, music performances, all things like that is great. Art of Noise. I'm going to put that in the show notes. Shout out to Adrian. And then go ahead, do your shout outs and plugs, Marcus or Jeffron.
Give a shout out, man. Shout out all our parents, man,
Shout out to
for
them.
raising us right.
Yeah.
Shout out to my family, my wife back at home, who's carrying a child and can drop any day. She's been
Yeah.
a trooper for 10 months.
Yeah.
And shout out to Adrian, of course, Art of
You guys
Noise.
said 10 months?
I mean, it definitely
not
is 10
really
months.
9.
Yeah.
I don't know why people say 9
Yeah.
stuff. It's
Yeah,
not
I
you're-
nine.
was about to say.
We We educated over here, man.
You
You
speak
got 2. You're
good.
supposed to
Kids,
know by
how
now,
many?
man.
I'm about to say, Phil, how many kids you
Phil
have?
got 4 kids and don't know it's 10 months.
I don't know what happened, man.
I want to shout out. I only know 2 other people doing podcasts. Shout out to my man Ronald Young doing his podcast.
Yes, time well
and
spent.
time well spent. And my man Renee Cadigan with his PMB podcast.
Yeah,
Shout out to him.
I'll put him in the show notes. I don't even know his podcast. I'll put it in the show notes. I'll let you.
That's it.
There you go. And then Marcus is on a lint for social media, so he's not giving it out.
Or I'm just gonna leave you in the queue and I'm not gonna accept you.
Go ahead.
Shout out to mom, dad, brothers, wifey Jennifer, my kids, Gabriella and James, and shout out to all my friends from Calvary Road. I love to see everybody doing well on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I really do appreciate about Calvary Road, that the friendships.
There you go. Well, thank you so much. You can follow the podcast, Positive Filter. It's at Positive Filter on Instagram and Twitter, or the Facebook page, Positive Filter. If you have a question or comment, you can call the hotline. It's 571-336-6560. Yeah, I like that. Do it again. I'm going to do it again. 571-336-6560.
Cheers.
So this has been a great episode. Please like and subscribe. Share this episode with your friends. And that's it. We're out. The end. Peace. Bye. Good. Thank you for listening to Positive Filter, a podcast that focuses on family, friends, career, with a little self-help along the way. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with your family and friends, and like the Facebook page, Spreading Positivity of Movement. Thanks for listening.